Welcome to Pause for Peace with me, Pastor Jewel, and today at Hillwood Presbyterian Church on August 17th, 2025, if the weather does not exceed 90 degrees, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, Hillwood is inviting anybody who would like to be a part of a forest therapy walk. If you don't know about forest therapy walks, check out our Conversations for Peace. One of my first Conversations for Peace was with Sarah Champion, who is the leader of Forest Walk with Me, one of our community partners who guides us through forest walks, or some people know it as forest bathing, right here at the property of Hillwood Presbyterian Church in Nashville, Tennessee on the west side. Come check us out, 5:30, August 17th, if it's not over 90 degrees, which it has been often in Nashville, though we've had a little bit of a reprieve for part of August. And yeah, so we are going to be at that time of forest therapy walk, like communing with nature. And we do so, Sarah is certified in this modality. It's really a healing modality coming out of the community in Japan, where it's known as Shinrin-yoku, and the Japanese have it all very measured, and doctors even prescribe forest bear, well, they call it Shinrin-yoku there, they don't call it by the English words, but they might even prescribe that. And I understand that like along their national trails that they have for like in their woods and whatnot, there are actually like centers where you stop in if you have been prescribed forest therapy walk or Shinrin-yoku. You stop in and you have to like have all your vital signs measured. And in that way, even the government is showing like this practice of forest therapy, of like being outside under the trees, somewhere in nature, being able to open our senses, all of our senses to the beautiful world that surrounds us. When a certified guide gives us prompts, they've discovered in Japan that people actually have like lowered blood pressure. They actually can have like heart disease that actually ends up like being turned around. Sometimes it actually prevents cancer or the spread of cancer. It's like amazing, but definitely helps with anxiety. And these are all things that have been like proven in the beautiful country of Japan. And right here in Nashville, Tennessee, there are a couple of certified forest therapy guides in Nashville. And so Sarah is one of them. And it's just such a blessing to have this connection with somebody who is like this very calming presence, who is willing to like be outside and explore and encourage us to explore as well. In our yoga class that we host weekly at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays, sometimes on the front lawn when it's not exceeding 90 degrees of temperature, but sometimes inside and with windows surrounding us where we can see outside, we're often called upon to do the pose tree, which I can't do when I'm sitting down. But the yoga pose tree, which is like a way to like bring all of our energy inside, like tighten up our core and like get ourselves planted well in the earth. And even to just do mountain pose in yoga, to like truly stand and be erect, is just one way to get ourselves grounded back into the energy of the earth and be able to open ourselves to all that this beautiful natural world has for us. Oftentimes in yoga, our yoga class is sponsored by another one of our community partners, by the way, Small World Yoga, which is one of our first community partners here at Nashville, Tennessee in Hillwood Presbyterian Church. And Small World Yoga instructors come here and they encourage us to like connect with nature around us, especially when we're doing yoga outside under our gorgeous big oak trees. They're beautiful out on our front lawn. But even when we're not, to like find a fixed point and to get ourselves into that pose. I wish I could show you here on the podcast, but I can't. But to get ourselves into that pose of tree and be able to stand firm in the earth. And it's so fascinating to me that as I'm growing older, I'm growing more and more appreciative of nature. But early in my ministry, actually probably like 20 years ago, I was in Estonia. Part of my work, I had to go to Estonia and connect with some folks there to see if we could be further community partners with those who were working to help the children there who were homeless, living on the streets in Estonia, in Tallinn. And so at the end of this week together, Mal was her name, and she was leading us, and she gave those of us who first came, myself and another person from the church who first came to explore this partnership, she gave us a token to take back to the States with us. She gave us an image that she actually had been doing a little photography, and she had found images, and one that she thought fit the other gentleman that was with me, and one that she thought fit me. And so I've had this image as a part of my home ever since, and I sometimes wonder about it because at that point in my life, I wasn't doing a whole lot to connect with nature, even though I actually grew up in nature. I grew up on the shores of Lake Michigan, in the woods, in the forest, and that's what we did. We explored outside all the time. At all seasons, we were outside doing something fun. Skating, or we might have been raking leaves together, beautiful fall leaves to make little houses we pretend that we lived in. Or we would be out riding bikes, or we would be doing sledding down by the beach, or we would just be in the summer, we would just be in the water and enjoying the beach, building sand castles, being outside, just enjoying life outside. But when I met Mal in Tallinn, I wasn't really that connected to nature. So it's kind of curious to me that she gave me an image, and if you're watching this as a video cast, you see it behind me on the shelf, of this gorgeous tree. And it's a tree she saw in one of the parks in Tallinn. And it's a tree that it actually looks kind of funny. The trunk is almost shaped like an hourglass. It has I have no idea how this tree grew in this way, but it's almost shaped like the tree has little bumps all along the trunk. So it looks more like a bunch of circles than an actual tree that's straight up into the skies. And she presented this image to me and said that she was so captivated by this tree when she first saw it. She took a bunch of photos of it, and when she met me, she felt like this image best reminded her of me. And I've always wondered, do I really look that lumpy? But really, she was presenting it to me because she found it to be this very unique tree. And she was trying to say to me that she finds me to be this very unique pastor, even then kind of doing things a little differently. And so this tree has been in my yoga space where I do yoga at home at night, and I'm going to get back to it soon once this shoulder is fully repaired from the last time I was out hiking in New Mexico. But this beautiful tree, it helps me to be grounded in the earth and to be remembering those moments of being presented with this gift and this reminder that every one of us is unique and we all have our own beauty in our own way. And this tree, some people might look at it and say that tree is ugly, it needs to come down, trees aren't supposed to look that way. And I think what Mal was trying to say is we can love and appreciate the grand variety of trees and the grand variety of people. We come in so many diverse ways. None of us have skin that's exactly alike. None of us have hair that looks exactly alike. The hair color itself is not even exactly alike, unless you're getting your hair colored, artificially. But we all have these ways in which we are unique, and they are to be celebrated. And part of what I love about forest therapy here at Hillwood Presbyterian Church, USA, is that we are reminded of the variety and the diversity of this world, this natural world that is around us all the time. I don't think I could find two blades of grass that even were exactly the same. It's so interesting that for those of us who are Christian and claim that like God is the great creator, like I think of that as this force, this energy that is constantly like pouring itself out, this energy that is in this like universal exchange, this dance of like everything flowing together. That's how I think about God, at least. And sometimes I call that love, because love seems to be this beautiful dance that like flows and outpours and is filled once again. And so this energy that is God is in all things. And there are Christians who say God is the creator of it all. Now, I am not talking about the Scopes monkey trial right now. I am talking about this force, this life that is in all things. The great mystic Hildegard, who I actually love, Hildegard speaks of the viriditas that is in all things, the greening power of the spirit, she would say, that is in all things. She has this beautiful mandala. I should have actually had that as an image behind me on this podcast. But she has this beautiful mandala of what in her, centuries, she was calling, one was actually on half the page, was her like visual of what she called sin, and one was her visual of life. And in this mandala itself, we see the dichotomy of that which has no viriditas, like the part that she was labeling sin. There's like everything's shriveled up and dead. There's like nothing, no movement happening in that image of the mandala. And then on the other side, it's these vibrant greens and beautiful, like vibrant colors, and everything looks alive. Everything has that viriditas, that like greening power of the spirit in it. And there's a way that she actually kind of gave the teaching about this mandala, and I'd have to go all into Hildegard. I'll do that on another podcast. But she gave a teaching with this mandala that was talking about the way that we are to live as those who are moistened by the Spirit, those who are like not shriveled up and dying and dead. Like we are to live as those who are vibrant and alive. And this is the way that the Spirit of God lives in all of us. And when the Spirit of God like departs, if you will, then everything withers and dies. You could meditate on that metaphor for quite a long time. But if we literally think of it, when that process of life moving through cells is no longer taking place, all that's needed in each particular cell, then things wither and they die. And the breath is no longer in the being at that point. And so as we look at all of nature, and remember that we too are like of the earth. We are matter, but we are spirit infused as well, as are all things. But we ourselves are a part of this glorious dance of the universe. One of my other favorite mystics and theologians, and I have an image of him behind us as well, is Father Francis. Father Francis, who was a great appreciator of all the earth and was a big lover of all the animals. And so if you're watching this podcast, you see behind me an image of him. I think I've shown it before. I was able to take this picture when I was in New Mexico last year in Santa Fe at the Basilica there in Santa Fe. And it's this gorgeous like invitation from Father Francis, who has like the wolf kind of wrapped around his legs, and he's got some birds right there by him, and there's like some bunnies even hopping by, and he's like giving this invitation to like come and explore and be like renewed by the beauty of connection, right connection with all the earth. And in our podcast today, that's our invitation, to have a time of being renewed by the energy of all of this gorgeous natural world that is around us. So I could guide us a little bit through that, and maybe I will for just a moment. But really, the invitation is to get outside, to go out and enjoy this beautiful natural world. If even for 5 minutes, maybe even for 2 minutes, do so with great intention. Maybe step outside, bare feet in the grass or on the sand or on a rocky road, whatever it might be, to get outside, and even if it's for 2 minutes, to take 2 intentional breaths and to feel like the nature all around us, to notice through our ears what we hear, to open our eyes and truly look at what is before us. To look at the leaves of a tree, to see exactly what they are doing at this time of summer. Maybe you'll be in a garden and you'll see like, oh wow, there's like some really gorgeous flowers, but there's others that are shriveling up. It's like we're beginning to turn. At some point in time here in Middle Tennessee, we will begin to turn from this like season of everything like being in abundance here in this growing season to turning to autumn, and the leaves will start to change because of all of the way that the trees are like alive and the ways that they shed their leaves to prepare for the winter and then be ready for spring to come again. And so we also can, when we take that step outside, we can literally feel different textures. In our forest therapy walk, Sarah will guide us to notice all the textures that are around you. If you're brave, and she does teach us what's poison ivy to stay away from, but if you're brave to actually touch with your fingers or on your arm or on your cheek, the variety of living things around us. And we can even like take a deep breath and with our senses of our olfactory senses, like take in all of the glorious smells around us. The earth doesn't smell the same each day, especially as the weather around it changes. There's a certain scent that we have after the rain. There's a certain scent that happens when it's like that very hot, humid air of the summer. There's a certain scent that something different we can smell. We may be standing near a flowering bush that we had no idea had such fragrant aroma. And as we get ourselves outside, we can be taking in the scents. And Sarah always gives us the invitation, and usually she's finding these things. She gives us the invitation even to taste that which is of the natural world, to take in, like there's so many things right around us in our great backyard, in a garden, in the woods. There's so many things that we actually could use to eat, to live on. When we are doing a full forest therapy walk, Sarah would have garnered something, like kind of gathered something from this property around us, and she would like create a little drink that we could have, whether it's like dandelion tea or maybe even like pine tea, something that we can remember that we don't have to just go to the grocery store to get our favorite tea, that the actual like things that we love actually come from the earth. The food that we eat, that which we drink, it comes from the earth. And this is the invitation on this pause for peace, to get yourself outside, to get yourself grounded, to be able to take in with all of your senses, your physical senses, the glory of the natural world that is around us. We might begin to notice something very powerful from the lessons of the natural world that might actually translate into our daily lives. We might be in a situation where we struggle with our coworkers all the time, and until we see a tree that has this like unique trunk, we might forget that like that coworker has a particular gift to give, even if they're not exactly like everybody else. There's something beautiful about their unique ability and their unique contribution they alone can make to the team. These are lessons we can learn from nature. So let's just take 3 deep breaths, which I will then charge you to go forth out into the natural world and pause for peace. So join me right now, right where you are, with 3 deep breaths that will be your invitation then to go forth into the natural world. Let's begin. 1 deep breath all the way from our belly. And hold it at the top before you gently release it. When you are releasing your breath, you're actually giving to the trees what they need. And when we take our next deep breath, which I'll invite us to do right now, we are actually taking in the gifts that the trees have given off in their process of like breathing. And we will then release with this reciprocal relationship we have with all of the natural world. The world that we sometimes get so busy we don't even pay attention to. We can't live without it. Literally cannot live without the natural world. So let's take 1/3 deep breath, and then I'm going to send you on your way to go outside and pause for peace. Hold it at the top before you release. Whether you release your breath slowly, that will kind of calm you down, or quickly, that can like bring the fire, that viriditas, up even more in your life. Whichever way you exhale, you are giving to the earth that which it needs. So go on out there, y'all. Have a little fun as you pause for peace outside in the natural world today. Blessings. See you after you get back inside.